in terms of the virtual event, the entire industry has now become more like a TV production based company, right? Where you need to have high quality video streaming on platforms to not let users go away. So we are seeing an amalgamation of the event industry with the branding and media companies as well.
We'll start off, I wanted to ask a sort of question about your younger self, Vaibhav. Just, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Sort of when you spend your formative years and what were your early career ambitions?
I always wanted to start something of my own since second year of college. And as soon as and I did not sit for any kind of job because I knew that if I sit for a job interview, then I would spend additional 2 to 3 years in that. And at that point of time in college, I thought that without MBA, you cannot start something of your own. Having a business plan is something that is what is needed. So I was preparing for my MBA entrance exams and happened to attend an event where I met someone who introduced me to an incubation center. I went to that incubation center and took an entrepreneurship course and realized that MBA is actually not needed and kickstarted my journey from there.
Fantastic. So always sort of focused on entrepreneurship to some extent.
Yes, I come from a family of entrepreneurs. Everyone in our family is in different industries and spaces doing something of their own. And this was my opportunity to do something in tech.
Brilliant, fantastic. Would you say, was it sort of your family members who were already in entrepreneurship that inspired you, or were there other individuals who inspired you as a child and young professional?
So I read this book called Startup Nation, which is an entire book on the entrepreneurship culture in Israel that really inspired me to understand that because you tend to think that everything in the world has already been invented or discovered. But when you read that book, you tend to realize that how startups are made in niches. And that's why I wanted to create a very niche product and not something that is too vast or would have a lot of competition.
How would you say that sort of led you into moving into the events industry?
So as I mentioned earlier, that I met someone at a particular event who then introduced me to an incubation center. At that incubation center, I was dabbling with almost 20 to 25 ideas and thought of, if I wouldn't have met that person at that particular event, I would have gone for an MBA. I would have spent 2 years. I would have spent maybe 2-3 more years on the job and then kickstarted my journey. Because I met that person, my life changed. And then I interacted with a lot of people whose life have changed because of people that they have met at random events. I wanted to create an attendee recommendation platform that you could use at events. So let's say, Mike, if you're going to a conference and there are 1,000 attendees, my platform would suggest that, Mike, as per your profile, these are the top 10 to 15 attendees whom you should definitely connect with. And that's why I entered into events. And it was a niche space, and we wanted to only focus on conferences and businesses. And that's how we were able to scale the company.
Very interesting. So was it this issue specifically that sort of helped give birth to the creation of Hubsoft, or were there other issues involved as well?
So that was the starting point of it. We struggled for initial 1.5 years, gradually pivoted to an event management software solution meant for enterprises. And COVID had decimated our business in February 2020. Since then, we have pivoted.
And then sort of moving on from Hubsoft, I mean, I've read online sort of about how COVID was one of the factors that assisted in sort of the idea of and moving along. But was there sort of anything else that helped you with that and helped sort of the company's development?
Yes. So during our HubSoft years, we were actually known for large scale events, engaging people on large scale, and that helped a lot in our virtual event journey, because we knew what it takes, what are the different stakeholders involved at an event, and how can you engage them by bringing them together on a particular platform. So all of that knowledge helped us accelerate the product roadmap. We were able to choose and pick up things that were absolutely needed rather than spending a lot of time in discovery. So that's how our journey started, and we got a head start from other competitors that were there in the market, just because of that contextual experience that me and my co-founder carry.
Would you sort of, I guess this is kind of a personal thing I'm quite interested in, but would you say that Hublot's success is sort of testament to your capacity to adapt to the problems faced sort of within the contemporary events industry?
Yes, I would say that we took a decision within a couple of days that we cannot see the physical event industry opening up. Gave my team an ultimatum of 26 days. Let's come up with something, and we launched the product. We could have only done that if the entire company was super adaptable, agile, as well as open to change and not frightened to take on a journey that we haven't taken before. Because at that point of time, it was about survival. We had 5-month runway. I was a bootstrap founder.
Interesting.
It was a do and die situation for us, and I think we did not die. We did it.
You thrived instead of dying. So well done, I think. I kind of link into that. If you had a crystal ball, what do you think the next sort of major adaptation required in the global event tech industry may be?
Interesting. So what I think is there are 3 aspects to event now, and how virtual event industry is also evolving. There is content, which the organizers bring in through speakers and all of those things. Then second is community, where all the people come in from different regions and attend a particular event with a common purpose. And third is engagement. So content plus community plus engagement. Someone who's able to crack this and is able to scale it, that I think is going to be crucial in the event industry moving forward, because you spend a lot of money in bringing in people and then they forget about you. How can you keep them engaged post event and then before the event as well? That entire journey of an attendee knowing about your brand, attending post event, and then attending again next year.
Yeah, I guess that idea links in, because I attended the press event you did recently, sort of announcing Hublo kind of part 2 as such, and it felt like it was bridging both an event platform and to some extent a social media platform. Was that the intention, or was that just how I interpreted it?
That was the intention, because and it was social media on steroids, because on social media you have a lot of time, at least a day or maybe a week, to get engaged with the platform. On event platform, you have not more than 1 hour to engage a person. So a lot of inspiration has been taken from social media platforms, so that we are able to engage people quickly. And just on that analogy only, just how the entire offline advertising industry moved online because of social media. In similar ways, we are seeing a lot of dollars moving in from offline events to online events. And our next step in this is going to be the existing platform that we have. How can we closely work with other social media platforms to amplify the event presence on that platforms as well?
Interesting. Sort of specific to India, what specific issues do you think are facing the Indian events industry as it develops, and what does it need to realize sort of to reach its full potential?
So I believe the India event industry is at par with the global industry when it comes to using the software and the technology. I would say that it is actually the venues and everything are also of global standards now. And in terms of the virtual event, the entire industry has now become more like a TV production based company, right? Where you need to have high quality video streaming on platforms to not let users go away. So we are seeing an amalgamation of the event industry with the branding and media companies as well.
Interesting. What would you say are the current sort of key strengths of the Indian events industry?
So first of all, it is actually quite cost efficient, and where you're able to run a lot of things at a lower cost. Second, you can work with multiple agencies over here instead of having the in-house team. And third, I would say is the entire industry is well connected. There are not many large scale events that happen in specific categories. There are few, and corporates have been taking help of associations. So there are a lot of partnerships that usually happens at events. So at every event we see that there are a lot of sponsors and partners. So association based members actually come together with corporates to promote a particular event. But I think that is there anywhere globally also.
Okay, that's interesting. Again, I'm going to ask you to sort of look into your crystal ball. We've seen such dramatic changes in the events industry over the past sort of 18 months.
Yeah.
What do you expect the industry to look like in 10 years' time?
One thing that I know that whenever a new technology will come in, event managers are going to be the first ones to adopt that. And we've been seeing that at a lot of different places, which is including augmented reality, virtual reality, a lot of product launches and tech showcases that happen. In the next 10 years, what I'm seeing is blurring lines of physical and virtual, where people at home would be able to experience how the physical audiences will experience the event if they are present at a physically if they are present. So a lot of technology needs to evolve to make us reach to that level. And we are seeing concerts happening, and it's not just a YouTube live stream that's happening, right? We are working with someone where we are integrating HoloLens within our platform. So you can just imagine the kind of acceleration or the innovation that is going to happen in this, where without leaving your house also you will be able to experience what a physical attendee experiences.
Fantastic. An exciting prospect, I'd say. But, two more questions I've got. It's firstly, sort of what's your vision for Hublot's future development, and where's the company currently at in terms of investment and capital at its disposal?
Yeah, so our vision is to is not to be just an event management software company. So our vision at the end of the day is to create a venue that is able to generate a lot of business opportunities for our clients. And when I say that, it could be either pipeline, it could be either member renewal rate, it could be engagement to your internal employees. But how do we actually create that venue in a way that you are able, that venue has a lot of capabilities? So just imagine that almost 1,000 events can happen on our venue parallelly. Now that's the power that we would want to add to our organizers. And in terms of fundraise, we've raised our Series A round, which was of $23.5 million from Lightspeed US and Balderton Capital. We raised our seed round in I think 2 months before that, which was for about $4.5 million from Lightspeed India. Overall, we have raised about $28 million.
Fantastic to hear. Finally, do you see more large technology companies, sort of vis-a-vis the examples of like LinkedIn, Cisco, moving into the traditional event organizer space? And if so, should traditional organizers be afraid of that competition?
I don't think that they'll move into the organizer space, because it's going to be a tech platform, tech play. And at the end of the day, all event organizers try to collaborate with people who provide platform. Now, there's a different scenario where players like YouTube, Vimeo, Cisco would want to move in the virtual event space, because that in itself is an entire tech play. And because it's video, they would want to be a part of it, as all of the entire world is working from home and it's a very difficult shift to go back to office. Video becomes a very important part of collaboration. Now that collaboration, one of the collaboration forms is organizing virtual events also for your internal employees or your external prospects or audiences. So that's where I think they're going to play.
Very interesting. I mean, that's me out of questions. So I'd firstly just like to thank you very much for your time.
Okay.
Really insightful. And yeah, thank you very much.